Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. We are replaying some of our favorite episodes from season 1 and 2. So take a listen to this episode and then mark your calendars for our season 3 premiere on Wednesday, September 4th. Hello and welcome to this episode of The Fierce Files. So today, now I'm always excited, but I'm super excited because I feel like I have a sister girl in the movement today with me. Her name is Valerie Rainford. So Valerie is the head of advancing Black leaders and diversity advancement strategies at JPMorgan Chase. Now, in addition to that, she's known as a change agent. She's a published author. She's a sought after speaker. She's an informal coach. Now she's saying informal, but she's a coach. She has a Girl Scout badge in her honor, right? Now, previously, she also worked at the Federal Reserve. And the reason I got to tell you this is she served there for 21 years. Now, while she was there, she was the first African-American female to hold a senior vice president role. She was the most senior African-American woman in the country at the time. I want you to get that, right? So she's also a member of the Executive Leadership Council. She is recently been appointed to the Podium University President's Council. But the thing that's near and dear to my heart is that she is also the co-founder of an organization called Black Women of Influence. So ladies, please help me welcome Miss Valerie Rainford. Welcome, Valerie.
Wow, Nicole. Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. And thank you for having me.
Of course. I had to have you. So, Valerie and I feel like, we always have these coffee side chats because it's not water cooler.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm beyond excited about, I know what you're going to share and just listening to your trajectory, because even thinking about when you wrote your book and, at a time when you were already successful. And ladies, as you're listening, the reason I'm bringing her book out first is because what I know for sure, and yes, I'm going all the way in at the beginning with Valerie. What I know for sure is your book is a transparent telling of your story, of your journey. And so as a woman who already has this pinnacle of success, that transparency I know wasn't easy. So just tell us a little bit about whether you want to talk about your book, Black Women of Influence, a little bit about your journey and moving into your more.
So, I tell the story in the book and in my conversations of how I was just working really hard, 20 years in corporate America, never really stopping to think about, and to use your words, what my more was. But as I started to go out and talk to audiences, I shared snippets of my story. And it's a pretty traumatic story. Most people don't tell the trauma that goes on in their lives. But the more I started to share snippets of the story, and people would respond to me in a very different way, almost as if I say that when I was talking to them, they stood up, they got their back got straight, their eyes got wide, and I could see the whites in their eyes to show that there was a part of my story that was their story. And so the more I found I was sharing the story, I was no longer sharing snippets, but I was sharing more and more of the story every time. And I stopped one day and said, wow, if I can, every time someone would hear the story, I'd be in an audience, someone would come up and whisper to me and say, thank you, I needed that. Or, I was abused, or my family member committed suicide, all of which is in my own story.
Right.
And I realized that if I could change one or two people in an audience, imagine if I were to share the story with the world, how many lives I could change.
And I just
so that was sort of the...
And I want to just commend you, because here's what I know. And the reason why I just went right out of the gate with that is so many women are sitting, they've got their corner office, they've got the title, they've got the expense account, but they're sitting in silent, hurt and pain, because they have these things that are going on that they're afraid to tell anybody about. And you were courageous enough to say, hey, I'm going to start telling my story.
Well, I will tell you that it took me a while to get the courage to tell the story, to write the story.
Right.
I told more and more of the story each time, but always in the community. You know, when I was out talking to churches, I never really told it in corporate America. Right. And then I tell the story in the book about how I met a man who said to me, you have to tell your story while you can tell it.
Wait,
don't let anybody else.
Somebody else, y'all need to tweet that. You have to tell your story while you can tell it. That's good.
Right. And you don't want someone standing over you telling your story. And that's when I was like, oh, hold on.
Right.
This life is short.
Right.
How do I make sure that not only do I tell a story and tell it in my own way, but how do I do it in a way that changes lives? And so I started to write the story, and it took me a couple years, 5 to be exact. That's more than a couple.
Right.
To sort of get it down on paper. And then the one thing that you didn't say in my bio, because I don't really tell it publicly, but I own my own publishing company. And the reason why I own my own publishing company is because when I started to shop the story to some of the larger publishing houses, they said to me, oh, there's no way that much stuff happens to one person in a lifetime. And the story is not believable. And oh, by the way, who's your target audience? And I kept saying, I really think everybody's going to love this story. Oh, you know, Valerie, everybody does not love a book. A book must have a target audience. And so because I was so committed to tell the story in my own way, and it's very different. You read page 1, you're drawn in, you want to read the rest. I decided to open my own publishing company.
And that's a big bold move. Wait, that's a big bold move by itself. So because she kept getting doors closed, I want you guys to get this. You know, what's so interesting is all these powerful women come on Fierce Files. You guys do stuff. You go, oh, I opened my own publishing company. And then you kept talking. It's like, hold on. That's not an easy thing. You can't just wake up today and make a phone call and go, oop, boop, I have a publishing company, right? But I really want to say this and commend you and celebrate you for doing that. And I want the ladies that are listening to hear that when someone told you no, you carved your own path, which I'm sure that wasn't the first time you did that. And before you answer that, because I know you're going to go in, tell everybody the name of your book, because I know some of y'all are dying. What book is she talking about? What's the name of your book?
Until the Brighter Tomorrow, One Woman's Courageous Climb from the Project to the Podium.
Ooh, that's good right there. One Courageous Woman's Climb. Now, I knew the name of her book, but I forgot the subtitle. From the projects to the podium. Oh, my God. Podium. That is so good.
And we'll come back to this about how I had to hire a team to help me figure out really how to put this book out with quality. But my team actually came up with the title. I had a number of working titles that speak to my life and who I am, one of which was, by the way, The Little Black Girl That Could.
All right, little engine. Right.
Right. I've held on to that one for a very long time because once upon a time, someone who was working for me, I tell this story in my book as well. There's a chapter called The Little Black Girl That Could, but because this young woman who was working for me stopped me one day and she said, you know that book, The Little Engine That Could? Well, you're the little black girl that could.
and literally you are. Because I've known you probably about 5 years now, maybe longer than that. And just to watch how you maneuver through things, just watching how you walk in things like water. And maybe you may have gone through a lot to get there, and I'm talking about professionally, right? And looking at your trajectory and hearing you when you've moved into new roles and roles that were made for you. Not anything you applied for, roles that were made for you. So as you did that, Valerie, so understand I'm sharing this for a purpose, you guys. So she literally knew she had to tell her story. It took you 5 years, but in the course of those 5 years, you said, hold on, no one's going to let me tell it. I'm going to make a way for myself. And even in your career trajectory, places have been made for you.
Well, one of the things that The Little Black Girl That Could is such a perfect descriptor for me and everything that I do.
We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Have you realized that you've been building someone else's billion-dollar brand, and there's a billion-dollar brand in you? And I wonder if you even know that you can begin your business now without letting go of your paycheck. And see, that's why I wrote my free ebook alongside my 9 to 5. So go grab your copy at alongsidemy9to5.com. By the way, that's the number 9 and the number 5. Alongsidemy9to5.com. See, most people tell you to quit to begin your business. And what I know for sure is that's setting you up for failure. Why? Because even if you've saved a year's salary, you got to spend money to make money. And so the wisest choice you can ever make is to begin to build your business alongside that 9 to 5. Listen, I created the ebook alongsidemy9to5.com to give you all the insight you need to start and plan your business with grace and ease. Because who wants to hustle? See, I want to teach you how to make money while you sleep. Yes, you can generate income while you're sitting in your office, even while you're conducting a meeting. See, you can be doing all of that and your business can and will generate revenue for you. So go grab your copy alongside your 9to5.com.
Not only do I never, ever, ever give up.
Mm-hmm.
Doors close all the time, but I have a philosophy that every morning I'm going to wake up and try and figure out how to have a new door open for me. And that's kind of my brand for anybody who knows me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the little black girl that could, the door may close in your face, but there's another door that will open. And that's just my philosophy every morning that I wake up.
And how did you get to that philosophy?
How I feel when I walk out of...
It's like, when did that click in? Do you remember the first time you ever realized that?
You know, I don't think that there was a moment, Nicole, but here's what I know. I think we are all a product of our experiences.
Yes.
And my life, which was pretty traumatic, I realized that now when I look back on it, that I was taught to never give up. I was taught to always make a way out of no way. But the thing that really shaped everything that I do today is the story, probably the penultimate story that I talk about in my book, and that is the suicide of my mom.
Yeah.
My mom was the kind of person who she worked hard. She was a Christian woman, a faithful woman. You know, when a door closed on her, she was always trying to figure out the next door. She was working 3 jobs at a time, you know, still couldn't really make a way out of no way, but she never gave up.
Right.
But I talk about the day that she lost hope. And that day that she lost hope, she forgot to look for another door.
Wow.
She forgot to hold on to her faith. It wasn't that she was not a faithful person.
Right.
But losing hope is when you forget to push through doors. And in that one, in my mind, I talk about it being that one day, and clearly it probably was not one day, but on that day, she didn't remember all the things that she taught me. And so I spend all of my time, all of my day focused on, you cannot ever lose hope. You cannot ever let a door close that you don't look for another door. And so those experiences, she taught me everything she knew, but in her death, she also taught me to never forget everything that she tried to instill in me. And I would say to you, another title that I played with, just coming back to the book for a very, very long time. This is probably the title that I held on to for the longest. And it was, Her Sacrifice is My Salvation.
Her sacrifice is my salvation.
Yeah. And my team actually talked me out of that title because it was not broad enough, right? But I still think about who I am as the little black girl that could,
right,
who's here and saved because she served and she sacrificed.
Right. And you're just not here. You are here, and as my husband would say, you're doing the damn thing, right? So you are here, and you're an executive at a high level. You are here, and you are on boards. You are here, and you've created an organization, Black Women of Influence, with your other 2 besties, right? You created an organization that holds the space for other women to find that open door. So
because I believe that I have gone through all that I have been through to be that little Black girl that could, whose purpose is to open doors for other Black girls that can.
Yes, that's good, girl. So say that again. Somebody needs to tweet that. So your purpose as a little Black girl that could, right.
It's to, and it's weird to say that I went through that trauma. I went through everything I talk about in my book to get to this place.
And here's what I want to
reach back.
And here's what I want to say about that, because all of us go through things in our life that don't feel good, but they're for our good. And if we can learn to be better and not bitter, right? Because and there's no judgment. All of us go through different things. And I always say, if God thinks I can go through this, then I must be the bomb.com, right? So understand, if you're going through something really, really hard, what's that Bible verse? God never puts more on you than you can bear. So that's why I always think, well, dang, if God thought I can get through this, then let me find how I can get through this, right? So literally, if we can become better, we get stronger. It doesn't feel good. Just like going to the gym, girl. I hate going to the gym. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And when you're sore after the gym, I really hate it. It doesn't feel good, but it's for my good. And I love how you really literally found the lesson, even in this not just one heartbreaking thing that's happened into your life, but many.
Yeah. And I what I'm good at is seeing talent and opportunities in others that they cannot see for themselves. And I believe that God put me on the planet, that God gave me all of those trials and tribulations and tests so that I could be here to testify.
Right.
And so when you understand that that's what you are here intended to be and do, then everything that you do is centered around that. There's nothing that I do that isn't at its core helping people realize their full opportunities. And I have a special passion for doing that around Black women. Yes,
you do. And that's why we bonded instantly when we met, because we both had that same passion. So how did you know, like in a world where, and I'm going to say this, and if I'm wrong, say, no, Nicole, you're wrong. But I feel like I know you, so I could be right. I don't know, but we'll see in a second. So in a corporate environment, which so many people will say you need to do this and then this and then this and then this. What it sounds like to me, what Valerie did is said, this is who I am and this is where I fit and this is where I want to go. How did you really stand in that?
So, no, you're wrong.
See? Right.
So while I am really, really good at seeing things for others, I'm not very good at focusing on me, which, by the way, a lot of us have a problem with.
Yep.
And so I am really very fortunate to have some phenomenal friends, of which I consider you one. But as much as I feed into BWOI, BWOI feeds right back to me.
Right.
And what I learned is to focus on who I have around me, who are sounding boards. And I had an experience many years ago now where I was, as much as people were coming to me looking for coaching and guidance and, wisdom and inspiration, I was struggling to figure out who I really wanted to be. And I sat and listened to a couple friends, including you, say to me, like, you were just so good at pouring into others. Like, how do you make that part of who you are?
Right.
And I had one friend in particular encourage me to do something that I now encourage everybody I know to do. And that is to write your future bio.
That's your homework, ladies. Write your future bio. Yeah. Keep going.
Right. So we all have that bio that, everybody's constantly asking for when you're out speaking, but is that bio who you really want to be? And if you write that bio with no holds barred, with no barriers, like, who would you be and what would you achieve?
Right.
And that exercise actually got me absolutely clear that this purpose that I talk about of pouring into others is all I want to do. And once I did that, it made it very crystal clear on what steps I needed to take in order to continue to feed that space. And also, like, what did I need to be able to get there? And by the way, for most of us, one of the key things was, how do I get financially independent so that I can be open to all kinds of opportunities.
Right.
So
right.
putting together a financial plan that I've now I got that, check that block, like, when you have a financial plan that allows you to think freely,
yes,
you go at everything with a different kind of passion.
Yes,
right?
Yes, totally. And then it makes you not feel hostage to, dare I say, your 9 to 5. Now, I'm not saying quit. This is the thing when people start their passion project, your business is what I call your fierce, by the way, ladies. When you really stand in the power of it and you start to grow it, whether you grow it within your career or you decide I'm going to do a business around it, it doesn't mean you have to stop doing what you do during your 9 to 5. What's paying your bills? Because you need to eat, you need to be safe for your retirement, you need to pay your mortgage. And so many people get lost in that. So I love that you said that, because when you start thinking about what do I need to save? What do I need to have? So when it comes to the day that I get to give my 2-week notice, or if you're really nice, your month notice, right? What do I need to have in place so I can do this thing? I love that. I love that you said that. I love it.
But all of that is absolutely right. But the other thing that it gives you is a free mind.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So people know me as, Valerie Rainford corporate, but people also know me as Valerie Rainford, the author. Like I'll be whoever you want me to be, depending upon where I show up.
Right.
And I'm also open to whatever opportunities people throw me. Last night, I was getting off a plane coming from your hometown of Boston, and I got a note from a girl who's like, would you help me finish this book that I'm writing? I'm like, what are you writing about? I'm not going to take it just because it's a book. How does that book align with how I want to inspire you, that little Black girl that can? You know what I mean?
Right.
Knowing where you want to go and having a freedom that allows you to get there on your terms, whether you work or whether you don't, it's hugely powerful. Because I don't come into my 9 to 5 with any barriers, but I also don't go into anything that's outside of my 9 to 5, committed to, emboldened with the 9 to 5. It's very difficult to explain.
I get it.
But I just have a freedom and a clarity around who I am and what my gift to the world is. And it governs everything I do every day.
And you know what's interesting? From the day that I met you, which I think was 2013. I'm not going to start counting because I'm going to mess it up, right? But from the day that I met you, that is who I experienced. So the fact that you didn't realize you were being that and doing that is amazing to me. And I'm only bringing that up because, yes, it's Valerie and I having a conversation, but all of you that are listening, all of us are on autopilot. And oftentimes we're doing things and being things that are natural to who we are, and we don't even realize it. And so
that's right.
And so this whole notion, even dare I say the role you have at work now, the advancing Black talent. That's who you are. You've always been advancing Black talent. You just said it a minute ago.
Absolutely.
When did you guys start BWOI? How long has BWI been here? 10 years now? 11. You've been doing it for 11 years, just with BWOI, right? You were doing it before BWI was established because that's who you be. And even that woman that called you and asked you to help with her book, you were advancing Black talent.
Yeah. And it's what's wonderful about it is people will say to me, wow, didn't I just created that role for you? No. The company has the concept and I just fit very naturally with it. But what's important is that I'm real clear that I don't do anything anymore in this life that doesn't feed my soul. And my soul is committed to advancing the talent in others. And so had an opportunity come along that didn't fit what I wanted to do, because I'm so clear, I would not have accepted it. But this was just perfect for me.
Right.
It's what I love to do.
And it's who you are, Valerie. I believe that's what you were purpose, what you were put on earth to do, right? And when I think about who your mom, how she instilled that little Black girl who could in you, that's what you instill in others as you advance their leadership inside of them.
That's what I try to do. But I think back to your question, I needed people around me, sounding boards, friends, coaches, to help me realize how I could manifest this destiny that I have. And one of the things that I learned in that process was I make so much time for others. I was not making enough time for myself.
And then how did you shift that? When you got that realization, how are you now making time for you?
Well, again, starting with that future bio, I said, okay, here's where I want to be. How much of my time am I spending on the things that will get me there?
Right.
And what kind of deliberate actions am I taking to get me there? And because I know I need the time to think about that, how am I factoring that kind of time into my regular day to day? And the minute I started doing that, I mean, I wrote that future bio. So much in that bio I've achieved already. So now I'm writing another future bio that I never would have imagined. Right. And part of it is, spending your time on things that don't serve you and taking those things out of your calendar.
Yep.
Today people will say to me, how do you get so much done? I'm very deliberate about what I spend my time on and who I spend my time with and how I factor in time for me. Whether it's the thing my friends pick on me about is I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go get my hair done. I've been doing that for 23 years. Right. I feel wonderful when I take care of me and go get my hair done.
Right.
I religiously go get a spa pedicure every 2 weeks. Doesn't matter where I am. Right. The girl who does my spa pedicure knows I'm walking in there same time every 2 weeks for years. I religiously go get a massage. But what I have discovered is when I'm doing those three things, I'm focused on me. I'm thinking about me. I got some buds in my ears. I'm listening to your podcast. Those are all ways that I know that I'm focused on me. And I schedule that stuff into my time. And it allows me the opportunity to sit back and say, like you said you were going to do this, you have not done that.
Right. Ooh, right. Okay. Listen, Valerie, you have given us so much. And I think the most powerful piece, and I'm repeating this because somebody needs just this. Number one, write your future bio. When you finish it, here's the second part of your homework. Number one, how much time do you need a day to be able to start to invest in getting to it? And then what do you need to do to get to it, to get it done, to make it happen? So it's number one, how much time are you going to invest? Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be 2 hours? Is it going to be 3? Is it every day? Is it all Saturday? What does that look like? Even if I tell you, Valerie, when I started my business and I was an adjunct professor, right? And not in one school, but two, right? So I really had to be intentional with my time. And I began to look at what can I add. And I had 2 bonus kids that were here. So I used to have to get up at 4 a.m. Did I like it? No. But I knew I wanted to build my own business. I knew that they got up at 6. And when kids are little, even though they were teenagers, they all in your business. You can't get anything done. So it's really looking at how will you commit to invest in the thing that you say that you want, which you have just given us a beautiful example. And then even the example of, nobody wants to publish my book. I'm going to tell you who's going to publish my book, me. And then you started your own publishing company. That's so big.
That's right. And I think one of the things that my co-founders and I try to do with the women of BWOI, we find so many women who are operating on autopilot, number one, say they want one thing, but they're not investing in it. Yeah. Committing to doing something and not finishing it, right? Having so many balls up in the air and none of that serves you. Yeah. Right. So, and I want to be, this path that has described all 10 things they want to achieve in their lives in the next 24 months. It's not realistic, right? I'm saying have a direction, be clear about getting to that direction, be very disciplined about how you spend your time, making sure you're staying on course. Right. And by the way, the third thing I would add is, and stuff's going to come along and knock you around and toss you up and change up your plan. But starting every day, fresh, bouncing back. One of my favorite things to do is I have a very long commute every morning. And when I am on the bus, I'm generally listening to some podcast or something that's inspiring me. But when I step off of the bus every morning, I've got about a 15-minute walk from my bus stop to my building. And I have a regular gospel playlist that I play every morning. And some of it is that restorative kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
It might be Dolly McClurkin singing Stan,
Mm-hmm.
or Marvin Sapp singing The Best of Me.
Right.
Or it might be Yolanda Adams and Victory, and right. But every morning when I walk into my building, the guards will wave me on because I'm bouncing, because by the time I get to that escalator, I'm ready to take on the world.
Yes.
And bringing that back to when I think about that, I talk about this in my book. I've watched, when I was growing up, my grandmother go through hard times. And I describe the time that my grandmother had a very difficult time. And when I woke up the next morning, my grandmother was at the kitchen sink singing Amazing Grace. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Or my mom would have a difficult time, and she would get up the next morning and be singing Mahalia Grace. And you know how Mahalia Jackson, and you know how we say we become our mothers? That ritual that I have every morning of, it don't matter how much you knocked me down yesterday. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. I know I got to come back at it. And if I can't get my inspiration for anything else, I'm going to get it from a piece of gospel music, and I'm taking on the world. Right.
Right.
Like, you have to find that thing that picks you up, right? When the world takes you down. That's how you become the little black girl that could.
And look, and that's a perfect place to end. You got to find that thing that lifts you up when everything else takes you down. Valerie, you have given us so much. You have given us so many nuggets. Thank you for sharing. That time went by fast, right?
It did. It sure did. Well, thank you for having me again.
Thank you.
That was it was a nice impromptu conversation. I loved it.
Yes. So, and thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your commitment to seeing other women rise. I appreciate you for all you do.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all three of these questions. Number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what would you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number three, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number one, what was your greatest takeaway? Number two, what would you do different? Or number three, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.